It's time for our annual Marvel Zombies video. Marvel Zombies 3 is here for you. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now this continues the saga of the Marvel Zombies, but it doesn't follow the Marvel Zombies from the last two chapters. Those zombies will come back in a few more editions later. So, looks like this year, we're going to be covering new zombies. Our story begins in the swamplands of Citrusville, Florida, with the State Initiative Team, the Command, investigating reports of multiple hostile targets, with one costume hostile among them. As the group reaches an airport rental shop, Siege scans the area and finds a woman among the scattered bodies. And as he goes to check on her, she turns, showing her teeth, and lunges, biting Siege in the side of the face. Jennifer Kale blasts the woman away while the conquistador begins fighting off the zombies crawling out of the swamp. However, as more appear, they begin ripping him apart, and from the shadows a figure shouts, "This looks like a job for the merc with half a mouth." Zombie Pole leaps in, throwing knives, hitting Jennifer in the arm, and bites down on Wandar's shoulder. As Wandar struggles against Zombie Pool, Jennifer shouts for him to throw his body down towards her. She's got a plan. Wandar blasts Zombie Pool down, and as Jennifer turns a key, an airboat's blades begin to spin, and it sucks Zombie Pool inside of it, showering her with chunks of flesh and blood. Wandar floats down, stating that he will be able to purge the impurity from his body, but he will need time to hibernate to cleanse. As Wandar begins to rest, an arm from the swamp reaches out, grabbing Jennifer, and Siege says how he's so hungry. And as she crawls away, he chases after her. His cybernetics begin to call out that the biological unit is infected, terminating unit, and Siege shouts, "No, I'm still hungry!" But the cybernetic arm pulls out a gun and bang! Then Siege's headless torso falls before Jennifer's feet. Over at the headquarters of the Alternate Reality Monitoring and Operational Response Agency, also known as ARMOR, Director Charles Littlesky calls on the help of another hero to help them, Machine Man, or Aaron as he prefers. Charles says that he's been brought here to help them with a little problem involving perpendicular universes. Unlike parallel universes, these universes are crossing over into their universe, and the entry points appear to be growing in Citrusville, Florida. The one that crossed over is the Marvel Zombies universe. It's a universe overrun by a zombie plague. Charles then leads Aaron over to Michael Morbius's lab, where Michael explains that they need his help with creating a vaccine against the zombie plague, but they're going to need a blood sample from a human from the Marvel Zombies world. At first, Aaron tells him that that's nice and all, but he only came here because he was curious about ARMOR and their work. And as he begins to leave, a voice calls out to him, stating, "It needs a long time." Aaron turns back to see Jocasta, and he tells her that they thought that they lost her when they fought against Ultron, and she tells Michael that it seems that the new medical attachments appear to be working fully operationally. Aaron then asks if they're sending Jocasta alone, and Charles says that it's not their first choice, but they don't have any organic escorts to go with her. They don't have any agents who care about robot kind. So Aaron says fine, he will go, and while Charles begins to use his powers to open up the portal to another world, Michael returns to his room. He then rips the skin off of his lips, showing his zombie fangs, stating that Deadpool did his part. Now it's time for him to do his. As Aaron and Jocasta step out of the portal, Charles tells them that this is Central Park and he will return in 8 hours to pick them up and the sample. And if they're not here by then, he will assume that they were destroyed. Good luck! The two begin to head off towards the destroyed city, but above them, this world's flying heroes begin to swoop down, asking, "Where are they? Where are the people?" As the two are carried into the sky, Aaron blows the head off of one as Zombie Falcon begins to rip off Jocasta's legs. Jocasta manages to shoot her eye beams, blowing him up, and back with Aaron, he starts to fall out of the sky. Aaron extends one of his arms to catch himself, but with the other, he catches a saw blade and he extends it up into another flyer. Jocasta starts to lose her balance, and she reaches into another flyer zombie to grab the intestines to help slow her fall, but as more intestines come out, it begins to rip. Before falling any further, Aaron extends his legs to catch Jocasta, and she says that one's getting away, but Aaron tells her, not really, and he fires a rocket, causing the zombie flyer to explode out of the air. A little while later, Aaron helps put Jocasta's legs back, and she tells him, "Okay, it's back on." And he tells her, he just likes the view here. Once Jocasta is back up and walking, the two begin to follow the scans of life across town until they finally find the only building in New York that apparently has power. Aaron begins to ask what's so important about this place, and while looking through the windows, Jocasta says all humans have been detected, and what they see is all of the superhero zombies eating everyone. Jocasta tries to scream, but Aaron covers her mouth, stating, "It's clones. They're mass-producing clones just for, oh god, they need human blood, not clone blood." And then they hear a voice asking, Excuse me? But I'm pretty sure you aren't allowed here. Did my husband give you permission? Jocasta asks husband, and Aaron says no. They are, travelers. And the woman then asks, like the man on the flying surfboard? About a year ago, a man appeared from the stars, and he was devoured, and those who devoured him gained his powers. Later, though, those who ate the man took off into the sky in search of new blood, and since then her husband, Wilson, did what he does best, and he built an empire. Wilson has since protected her by controlling his hunger to eat her, and Jocasta says that she has a bit of an odd request then. May she have some of her blood? It's for a very important medical problem where they come from. The woman agrees and Aaron offers for her to come with them, but she tells them no. Wilson protects her here. She is what keeps him going. After getting their sample, Aaron and Jocasta leave, but after looking back at the bodies being eaten, Aaron begins to think back to how other robots were treated, and he won't let that stand. Aaron tells Jocasta to head to the portal. He's going to take care of a few things, and then he jumps through the window to the zombies, firing his rockets and guns. Aaron soon finds himself shooting and burning all of the heroes in this world while destroying their machines that they are using to clone humans. Once the last capsule is destroyed, a zombie bear appears behind Aaron and bites down on his head. And then spikes shoot out of the bear's head. The floor begins to cave in and Aaron and the zombie bear begin to fall and he rips it off stating, "God help me, I have no stomach and I have to barf." As Aaron begins to pick himself back up, he sees a floating zombie Stephen Strange with a spell window, and as he looks at it, he sees armor. Kingpin, who is actually the man named Wilson, steps out stating, "Yes. After we had found Dr. Strange, he was only able to cast 2 spells. One was to make mana fall from the sky, and the other was to create interdimensional windows. And we have found your reality. All of your wonderful Avengers. The gospel loves to spread to superhumans. See, we only exist to spread the hunger gospel, which is why we sent one of our counterparts in to replace one of your armor people. So once you return with the sample, Michael will create a vaccine and spread the zombie plague, and your world will fall." Aaron points his gun at Kingpin, stating that he loves it when a bad guy has long monologues. It gives him time to. And then her hair reaches down the pit, grabbing him. Medusa screams for him to die, and then Aaron blows her head off, and zombie Ghost Rider rides through shouting, "How vengeance hungers!" With his other arm, Aaron changes it into a sword, cutting Johnny's head off, and he looks back at the bike and he smiles. Seconds later, the building explodes as Aaron rides off on Johnny's bike, while Kingpin tells everyone to bring back whatever part of Aaron feels pain, so that he can stab it repeatedly. Aaron rides through the city, driving along the city buildings until some of the runner zombie heroes begin to catch up. One manages to jump into the way of the bike, causing Aaron to lose control and crash. But back at Armor headquarters, a worker goes to check on Michael because he's late to a meeting, and as she enters, she sees Michael bleeding and he tells her, "Behind you." But it's too late as zombie Michael bites down on her shoulder. She falls out of the room and another worker walks by asking if she's alright, and she jumps up biting him. Back at the extraction point, Charles steps out asking Jocasta, "Where's Aaron?" And as the two of them look off into the city, they see a fire. And Charles says, "I'm sorry," and Jocasta says goodbye. Slowly, Aaron begins to call out to Jocasta, but he's having a hard time as he's missing the lower part of his body along with an arm. Jocasta and Charles step through the portal, and as Charles tells Control they did it, Jocasta heads over to Michael's lab where she sees him eating people, and he says that he knows what she's thinking. Operating without anesthesia, tisk, tisk. Jocasta radios back to Charles stating, we have a situation. And he tells her that he noticed, just make sure that none of those zombies escape. After running towards the exit, Jocasta begins to weld the door shut, and then she hears people banging on the other side to let them out! The zombie wasp flies by telling her that she's just a dirty, stinking robot. She will never be human like her. Back down in the subway tunnel, the zombies begin to surround Aaron's broken body. But as one of them reaches out to grab his head, his hand passes through it, and from behind the pillar, Aaron steps out stating that his hologram projector still works. He then begins torching all of the zombies and beating their heads around with other zombies' arms. As more of them start to run down, Aaron fires off his fingers into a wall extending 4 razor-sharp wires, and the zombies run through, cutting themselves in half. Soon a giant bear dog teleports in, and Aaron extends his arm, wrapping it around its neck, stating, "You can teleport, huh? Well, that's good. Now fetch." Over in the current world, Zombie Wasp continues taunting Jocasta, and then she slams her hand, smashing her, and rips the door back off, letting the people in. She begins to fight off the swarm of zombies, and then elsewhere in the facility, Aaron teleports in, riding the zombie bear dog, stating that he's been programmed to eviscerate their squishy organic bits and chew gum. And he hates gum! After shooting down the horde, Aaron pulls out a brain from one of the zombies, telling the dog to go fetch, except that it has a bomb attached to it, and as soon as the dog eats it, it explodes. From behind the shadows, zombie Michael kicks Aaron, stating, "I've had enough. The hunger gospel will not be silenced by some damn automaton. I'm a vampire and a zombie. I'm a vampy and I can't be stopped." Suddenly, the real Michael appears, stabbing a tree branch through zombie Michael's heart, and then he begins to turn to ash. Aaron says, "Dude, you just staked the zombie version of yourself. You're gonna need therapy for the rest of your life." Zombie Captain Mayan then appears through his shield shouting in symbols, and Aaron cuts through him stating, "No, you know what? My name is Machine Man, and I just saved the flippin' world." Jocasta then runs out shouting, "You're alive!" And Aaron says, "Of course, I'm too cute to die. Now give me some of that sweet, sweet robot love." After their blissful robot kiss, Charles tells him it's not over. Someone managed to use the teleporter to get out of the facility, and Michael says, if he may, he would like to assemble and lead the team to catch whoever that was, because this has been a long time coming, and the Midnight Suns must return. And that concludes Marvel Zombies 3. Now, unlike the last 2 years, where we only did these once a year, if you really want the continuation to this, we will bring it a lot faster and a lot sooner if you just give this video likes, subscribe to the channel, and let us know that you want it. I know we typically make this an annual thing, but just like Vampire Batman, we'll wrap it up if you really want us to. I'm Benny the Comicstorian. Follow me on Twitter @Comicstorian and Instagram @Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here.